Okay, so this session is for one of my players who has been working really hard and has asked for more work on top of the technical program which our club provides to all of our players. So the players asked for a session on shielding the ball and on dribbling. So hopefully you can see I had to do a little bit of tidying up. I've got two dogs out because tidy the grass up sometimes. So it's a simple setup. I'll just show you the session plan, what we should be working on, the progressions. So my drawings, don't judge me. But the first bit that I'll just be showing them on the grass will just be about dominating the area around the ball. So creating a circle around the ball, arms out, not too high. You don't want to exaggerate it, but arms out just to protect the circle around the ball. And then we're going to move on to like you can see I said positional cones. So this is for a central midfielder, a defensive midfielder. So just going to try and place the cones out to replicate where this player is likely to find the opposing players. So they're looking for the 10, the 8 and the 6. So that's why the cones are looking like that. Number 3 is the same as number 2, but with an addition. So we're looking to shield and dribble through the cones, and then dribbling to play a pass. And all I'll do there is I'll just place 2 cones with a little passing gate. So you've got to pass the ball through the gate, which means you've got to do some running after your ball, unless you've got a couple of soccer balls. And then number 4 is as above, and we're just going to move the central cone from right to left so that they get an opportunity to work on the other side. And then number 5 is the same as above, but then we're going to look to find a wall so that you're dribbling to combine to finish. So that's what we're doing today. It's not going to take too long. I don't want to labour on the session and wear myself out. I just want to point out the main parts to the technical side of the session. Hopefully the camera's okay, and I'm just going to start explaining on another camera what we're doing and then go straight into arms out shielding. I might not come back to you for a while. Okay, so what we're working on is shielding and then dribbling, adjust the dribble, make it positional, and then make it into shielding, dribbling to pass, and then shielding, dribbling to combine to pass forward. And this is what the session plan will look like. So that's what we're working on, and I'm only going to go through the points a couple of times, but for you might want to work on each section for 2 minutes and then have 1 minute rest and then work for 2 minutes again. So your ratio, your loading will be 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 minutes twice plus 1 minute's rest. That's your loading for this technical practice. So the first thing I'll do is go through the shielding. It's going to look a little crazy, but the purpose for it is to create a circle around the ball. And don't forget, in reality you're working for 2 minutes, while the rest of the tools. as crazy as it looks, what you're doing is you're sticking your backside out a little bit. You're getting your arms up, but not too high. Just make it so that you're at your opposition player's hip height. And then you're creating an imaginary circle around the ball. So that's all you're doing. You're creating an imaginary circle around the ball. I want to try and move the camera a little bit, just so you can see what my head's doing. And don't forget, you're not using any cones for this. No cones, and all you're doing is just moving the ball around. Work for 2 minutes, rest for 1 minute, work for 2 minutes. Arms out, backside out. Try to keep, I wanted you to see my head, so try to keep your eyes up, so you're not playing like this. So number 2, add the positional cones. Add the positional cones. So, central midfielder, what you're looking at is, who do you play against? You play against 10, 8, 6. So that's how you set up your cones. So it's really important that I show what the setup is and explain why. Got to explain why I've done certain things so that when the player's doing it, they understand the importance of where the cones are, or the importance of why the arms are up and how high they go up and the reason why. And the same idea with why I want the video to show my head, so that the player can see that I don't want them to look down at their feet. I want them to try and raise their eyes. So now what you're doing is number 2, which is the arms up and the positional dribbling. So same again, you're working 2 minutes, rest for 1, and take the rest as well. Don't think to yourself, I'm not tired. You need the rest so that you add quality to what you're doing, not because you're knackered, but because it needs to be quality. 2 minutes work, 1 minute rest, water, 2 minutes work again. 2 plus 2, 2 times 2 plus 1. Just going to try and change this camera angle. I want you to see the cones as best as possible. It's a bit tricky. I'll bring it a bit closer. A bit closer. A little clearer. even closer without kicking my iPad. Here, a little bit here. So where I'm starting will be in relation to what I feel and feel. So you as a central midfielder, remember you're kind of you're a very important player because of the fact that you cannot play for three positions. So the number 5, which is the ball playing centre back, number 8, which is the box-to-box midfielder, and number 6, which is the defensive midfielder. Those are your positions. Now take a look. That is important. So that little bit of detail, I'm going to get my body in between the opposition player and the ball. So I don't let that happen. That has to happen. So I'm in the way. I'm a barrier. I work as a barrier, get myself around, use any part of what I want to. Make it realistic. Backside stuck out. Move the ball away. Get as close as you can, make it realistic. Get under pressure, so you're trying to manipulate the soccer ball around the cones. So all I've done there is I've just moved the camera to show the player the detail with the technique of the dribble. The first thing we're looking at is what you're doing with the rest of your body that's not actually on the ball and dominating the ball. The rest of my body is a barrier. So I'm going to get myself nice and low. One foot is going to be the shield between the opposition player and the ball. So I get in between the player and in between the ball, so they don't get to the ball. I can then use my furthest foot to perform the manipulation of the ball. So the furthest foot does the dribbling, the other foot does the protecting. I might move this camera actually, make it a little bit brighter. Got my cones, got my positions, got the ball. Now what else have I got to do? I'm shielding the ball, so that's why my backside's sticking out, arms are out. Get yourself around the cones. Take it away if we can. Get your arms out. My arms are out. I look a little bit crazy, don't worry about it. Arms are out. Get low. Lift my eyes. I'm lifting my eyes up. But take a look. I've still got to get those arms up. I'm making a circle around the ball to shield the ball. Backside is out. That keeps the player away. Furthest foot is the dribbling foot. Nearest foot keeps the player away. Arms are out. So you're working for 2 minutes. Your loading is 1 minute rest. Take the rest. And 2 minutes working. So 2 times 2 plus 1. Remember, you've got to get the arms out. Don't get it too high because it's not realistic, and it will be a foul because you're just going to get your arms into people's face. Get it below, just near the hip height. Get it near the hip height. That means that there's a little bit of room for any mistakes you make. Second one is about dribbling, but you still got to incorporate the first bit, which is about shielding. Now the third bit, take a look. So the third bit is add the passing. So we've worked on the dribbling, we've made it positional, so you're playing up against the people in midfield as a central midfielder. Now take a look at what I've done. I've added 2 cones at the end to represent the passing gate. So I'm still using my arms, backside stack out. My body's a barrier between the opposition player and the ball. I dribble through the cones as many times as you want to, dominate the ball, make a circle around it and play a pass through the gate. So let me set up my second step. So setting up those cones, I've got my first set of opposition players, midfielders nice and tight. I'm going to take 10 steps. Take 10 steps for your little pass, for your passing gate. I'm going to take 5, that's because I don't have a lot of room, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So that's a passing gate, but be aware, you want the soccer ball to go through it, so it's got to be at least a ball width apart so that you can actually get the ball through. If you're struggling, make the gates bigger. If you feel very confident, obviously make it exactly ball width. So this is a passing gate. You've got your midfield opposition, and then you've got, as you break the line, with a pass to your teammate who's further ahead of you. Arms are out. I'm using my right and my left foot, different parts of my feet. My eyes are up. If your head's down, get your eyes up. Keeping the ball, keeping it away from the players. Put myself under a bit of pressure, play my pass through the passing gate. And that's what we're looking for, that's it. Then you've got to get the ball. So let me show you that little setup again. So these are the midfielders that I'm playing against. This is a 10, there's the 8, and there's the 6. So as a central midfielder, that's how I set up my cones, that's what I'm playing against. I work out of my comfort zone, so use your left and right foot, get low so that you're closer to the ground so you're more agile. Get through the cones as many times as you want to. Remember, it's important to get yourself positioned so that you're able to get the body in between to protect the ball. Arms are up. Manipulate the ball, different parts of your foot. Don't stay comfortable. Sole of your foot, laces, whatever you want. And then to break the line, you're playing a pass to your teammate just ahead, and it should get in just to break the line there. And that is that practice. That's all that is. Remember, you're working, your loading is 2 times 2 plus 1 resting. So now all we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit of detail where we adjust from right to left, just so that we're making sure we're putting a little bit of emphasis on developing different side of your body. So the central cone, I'm just going to move it. So now this central cone gets moved from the left side and I move it to the right. So think about the details of your game. That movement is very important, so you don't get disorientated in a game. You're not out of your comfort level, because you don't have a comfort level. Everything is something which you are able to dominate. It's not going to be strange to you. So now all I've done is I've just moved it, and I'm going to do the same thing again. And we repeat that practice. So all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that the player sees the detail and understands why, because the player needs to ask why. They need to ask me, why would I do that? And if they don't ask why because they're shy or because they haven't thought of it, then I have to give them the why. I have to explain what the purpose is, why the distance. So why should that be 10 steps away? Why? Because you're central midfielder, and I mentioned breaking the line. So hopefully the player would pick up on the language, and the language should be consistent. So that shouldn't be the first time that that player has heard me say break the line. So they're able to understand, she means I'm meant to be playing the ball forward. Break the line, that pass goes forward through the passing gates. It goes forward, break the line through the passing gates, and they know that these aren't just cones now. The central midfielder knows that this player is their 10 that they're trying to play up against. So they get in, that's a 3v1 for them. And they know that breaking the line, they've got to try to evade the 6. So they know that's a number 6 there. So even though we've just set the cones out and they're just cones, the players need to know that when we practice, the cones don't represent cones, they represent players. So get into the right mental picture of the practice. The mentality for players during practice has got to be high as well. Like if a player practices and their mentality is low, or they're less competitive, or they're not they're not intrusive of the session, they're not inquisitive, they're not asking questions. For me, that sends me alarm bells. I want to know why a player's not asking questions. I want to know why they're not trying new things, or if I've introduced something new, have they noticed it? Are they inquisitive? Players need to be curious. So we're just going to show the adjusted one. Actually, I won't show the adjusted one because they should know that we've just gone through it. And then I'm just going to add the wall pass to a finish. Now, remembering that this is someone's garden. These players are playing in their gardens. So we've got to find a wall pass. What's going to represent a wall pass? Right, so being creative, and the players should be. This is my wall pass. Okay, so now we're moving on to the wall pass, and I want you to have no fear about being creative, okay? So I'm from a village in Nigeria. You have to be creative because we didn't have big goals, and we didn't have the luxury of some of these things. You have to be creative. It's no problem in doing that. So we've got your arms out, got your backside out, so you've got a circle around the ball. That's your shielding. The circle around the ball is the shielding. Your arms are at hip height, not too high, so you're not encroaching on the player and you're not going to cause an infringement. It won't be a foul. So your arms are up, your eyes are up so you can see the pictures, and you're manipulating the ball through the midfield, and then you do this. So I'm just going to try and show a demonstration of the wall pass. So whenever you're working on a session, like a technical session, so we know the techniques are 7 techniques, but they shouldn't, ideally they shouldn't be in isolation. Technical practices shouldn't be in isolation. So if you're working on something like this is dribbling, we shouldn't just do dribbling, just dribble. No, because in a game there's got to be a purpose. So what we've been doing is we've been working on, this session is based on shielding and dribbling, but then we've added the passing, so we're dribbling to pass. And then we're going to add the wall pass, which is the trash can. The wall pass, so what type of pass? It's a combination pass. So it's dribbling to combine. And then what are we looking to do? We're looking to break the line and pass forward. So dribbling to combine to play forward. These are all techniques, but they're not, because we're trying to challenge players and we're trying to get them to be more creative, and we need them to understand what the game looks like. What does the game look like? The game isn't just going to allow you to dribble. That's not the game. The game will ask more questions of you. Can you pass at the end of your dribble? I've watched like high school games and you see players doing great things and then they can't do the final bit because they probably just worked on one skill, you know? So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to try and show. It's going to be difficult because the trash can is circular. So I have no idea how I'm going to get a combination pass, but obviously I'm going to blame the trash can because it's not going to be my fault. So I'm going to get my arms out, backside out, eyes up. That's the shielding. Make a circle around the ball, that's the shielding. And then with the little cones down there, then we're going to work on the dribbling and then combine it, play the pass to the trash can, and then get the ball back and play the ball through the passing gates. So dribble to combine to pass forward. The pass forward is breaking the line. So that's the language that the player should be aware of. Breaking the line. And that's what I'm going to say to them now on their individual video that I'll be sending them. Okay, so just a reminder, we're working on shielding the ball, arms out, backside out, eyes up, so you can see the pictures and make better decisions. Keep the ball close, get your foot between the cone and the ball, so you can create a barrier, keep the ball hitting, get through the 8, 10 and the 6, combine, receive it again, break the line with your pass. Combine, receive it again, break the line with your pass. Comes out here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Not so wonderful. Hold on, right. Small. Can you see combination? So this is my combination pass. These are my passing gates. Get the ball through there. Small area because I need it to fit into the camera. So arms are out, backside out, shielding the ball. Combination pass, pass it forward, get it back. Pass it forward, get it back. So my movement has to be a bit more forward, right? The first thing I did was that, which is very bad. I need to be ready to go forward to receive the ball again. So I'm going to do that again because that wasn't good enough. So, arms out, get through them, look after the ball, pass it forward, get it back, play it through the gates. There, that's it. Arms out, fit into the camera. So, arms are out, backside out, shielding the ball. Combination pass, pass it forward, get it back, pass it forward, get it back. So my movement has to be a bit more forward, right? The first thing I did was that, which is very bad. I need to be ready to go forward to receive the ball again. So I'm going to do that again because that wasn't good enough. So, arms out, get through them, look after the ball, pass it forward, get it back, play it through the gates. There, that's it. Arms out, backside out, eyes up. Your foot's between the cone and the ball, so you're a barrier to the defender, to the defensive player. You combine, you're ready, but don't run past the pass. So this is running past the pass. It's here, so I'm ready to go forward, but I'm also ready to drop back. I play it, then I'm ready. Get it back, play it forward. That's breaking the line. There, that's it. That's it, that's the way it goes. So all we're doing there is giving you an opportunity to progress your session, progress your technical session. So that is a technically unopposed practice where you have been working on shielding, dribbling to pass, and then dribbling to combine to play forward, to break the line. So that's it. And that bit there would be 2 minutes times 2 plus 1 minute's rest. And again, if it's 1 minute's rest, take the rest and think about the session, what it looks like. Have your water, get some stretches done, and then go again. You'll see that when you take your rest, your session improves. Okay, so that's what the loading is for, so that we get more quality out of your session. Okay, so you can do that 3 times a week, and don't work for too long. Do that for 15 minutes. 3 times a week, 15 minutes, and you're done. That's it. 3 times a week, 15 minutes. That's your session. And remember, the high focus is shielding the ball. Medium focus is dribbling. Low focus is passing. So all I've done there is I've just clarified the levels of importance of what we were doing. So we're working on 3 things, but they weren't all 3 equally important things. So some things are a priority, other things are important, and you have to be able to clarify with the player what we're working on and at what level of significance it is, so that they know the flow of the session. So if they get one bit wrong, don't freak out, because I'm actually looking for you to do this. So if that session was on shielding to dribble and pass, passing was a low focus, because we're actually looking at, can you shield the ball? No, but I can pass. Well, that's no good. I need you to protect the ball. So shielding is the high focus. It's the most important part of the practice. So we've got to make sure we keep reiterating that. Get your arms up, get your arms up, get your arms up. How up? No, not that up. So we have to get them to understand the technique. Focus on the technique. Don't move on to the next bit until they've shown a progression in the first technical practice. Because if you move on and they still can't get the last bit, then it means that then they're not layering their learning. Even a small progression, that's enough. They don't have to be perfect. So what I'm looking for from that player is to show that they understand the language, they understand the reasons that we're doing it. Why would you get your arms up? And if they think it's strange, then I just show them examples of where in a professional game, that's what you do. So all the pictures of me playing, when I've got a 1v1, my arms are always up. I've got a picture of me holding 3 players off. And I wasn't even that strong, but it's just the idea, the concept in the player's head of creating a circle around the ball. And it doesn't make you a great player, but you need to be able to keep the ball for your team, or you're out and someone else is in. So I'll send that to the player now. I'll edit it. I'll add some images of good examples so that it's good for them to see it, and then they can make it relevant to the real game. And then I'll send the session to the player. And I just love the fact that they've asked for extra work. And I think that when we do go back from this quarantine stuff, I'm not risking anything with our players. So, you know, we're not going to go and try and find a field somewhere to practice out of our kit. I'm not doing that. If we aren't practicing, we're not practicing as a club. But this player's finding ways to improve themselves, and I love that. So all I'll do now is I'll send that to the player. I'll send the explanation. I'll then do a follow-up. So give the player a couple of days, and then do the follow-up. But take a look. I mean, if that's the session, a trash can. If they don't have cones, because they're not coaches, are they? They're players. If they don't have cones, just put shoes down. Like I said, I'm from Africa. If we didn't have cones, but we produce professional players, you know. So it's not impossible. So I'll send that to the player now. I'm really pleased that they've asked for the extra work, and then I'll do the follow-up. That was the session for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll save this onto my the stories or the IGTV or whatever, and tomorrow will just be the sprint stuff that I do with our players.